Thanks everybody for being here. All right, so tonight's topic is harmonics. And I've taught harmonics to some of you, and some of you have my harmonics volume already, but I don't think I've showed the principle of harmonics to any of you. So while some of this is like way brand new and some of you have done this with me already, I think that the material tonight will help solidify what harmonics are. So we're going to start with looking at the harmonics are basically extra sounds in the spectrum of an instrument or a voice. And it's basically the extra part of sound that we don't, isn't in the forefront. And I want to use a guitar string as an example because it's a little bit easier than with flute. We have, this tube and we can't really see it vibrating so much, and we have all these keys and it's not as easy to understand. So I want to show you with the guitar, natural way to show this. And this is from a book called Fundamentals of Guitar by Miles Okazaki. He's actually the jazz guitar teacher at U of M in Ann Arbor. And I want to read you his explanation of harmonics. I think it's one of the best things I've read to help me understand what harmonics are. So imagine now, instead of a flute tube, we have a string. It's the same idea though. You have a string or you have a tube that makes a sound, same deal. So in order to understand how the guitar works and ultimately how harmonics and sound works, let's look at a string. So one string is at rest and one string is in motion, just like our flute. Like our flute here, it's not making a sound, no motion. If I blow into it, essentially I'm making it vibrate. So it's the same concept as with a string. So when the string or when the flute tube is hanging out, it's silent. And when it's vibrating, when I blow into it, it produces a pitch. And we call the pitch that it makes the fundamental. So it makes the note. So the fundamental is just another name for a note. The fundamental is the pitch that we hear the most clearly. And this pitch that we hear, like I said, has these other basically sounds vibrating. You think like a spectrum of light. There's, the light, but then there's all these other aspects in the spectrum that are part of light. Sound is the same way. So our instruments sound the way they do because of this interaction of the sound or the timbre of the instrument blended with the overtones. This is where the overtones come in. So essentially, the quality of an instrument sounds based on its overtones. So continuing with this second paragraph, the vibrating string has a natural tendency to divide into equal sections called partials. So what he's saying there is if you pluck a string, or if I play my low C, and I divide it in half, it becomes twice as high. That's how we get an octave. It's divided equal. Octaves are twice as high frequency. So he calls this, when we do this act of dividing pitches, he calls it partials. That's the basic principle of how harmonic series works. So third paragraph, the sounds of these partials can be forced out of hiding. So we can basically make these extra sounds in the spectrum, force them out of hiding. They're hiding inside the fundamental. And this is how we produce harmonics. On guitar, you actually dampen a little bit on the string to basically mute the fundamental and bring out the harmonic. If you've ever seen a guitarist doing those funny little things with the little ding, ding, ding sounds, they're making harmonics by basically muting their main note and forcing the harmonic out of hiding. On flute, how we do it, so that's the basic principle of his description, which I like a lot. So on flute, the way we do it, if I'm going to play low C, for example, and instead of fingering the C above that, I'm going to basically dampen that above C by continuing to finger low C, but playing the C above. So that's the harmonic. All right, so if you have your flutes, grab your flute. I want you to try it. Some of you, this might be your first time doing harmonics. So low C. Now keep fingering the low C and play the C above, but keep fingering low C. Woo! Try it one more time. Low C. And C above. We just played the first harmonic on the flute. So the harmonics on instruments are based on the natural acoustics of every instrument, and there's actually a series that goes with all instruments. So I can play a harmonic series on the piano, and it's based on the same intervals. So if I'm going to turn on a little arrow, the first harmonic, if I'm playing low C, is an octave above. We'll try it again. One of the ways harmonics are notated in music is with little tiny circles. That's what these little circles above the note are. So you can see I'm still fingering the fundamental on the bottom, low C, and overblowing to get the C above. If I blow a little bit harder, the next harmonic is G. Or the fifth, 5 notes higher, so an octave and a fifth. If I blow yet again a little bit higher, I get 2 octaves. That's the third harmonic, and so forth. You can go all the way up. Today we're only going to go up to the octave, but if I blow a little bit harder, I can go up to 2 octaves and a third. A little bit, blow a little bit more, I can go up to 2 octaves and a fifth. And then 2 octaves and a seventh. Possible, but not always practical, as you'll see with harmonics. So that's the basic principle. Does anyone have any questions they want to type in the chat before we go on? Just wait a second. Check on the YouTube chat. It's a little bit faster. All right, doesn't look like any questions, so just chime in if you've got any questions as we go. All right, so if you want to grab the Harmonics Volume 1, so this is the PDF that I sent to all of you, and let's actually start with we'll start on C. C. Where's my little arrow? Let's start here. So we'll start in the second, after the second round, the second note that we start on. Some of you don't have a low B. And I have a tempo marking for these to do them at 80. And if you're brand new at this, you can just kind of try it a little bit and go through. If you've done it before, you can go ahead and play along. And let's just try this first one to give you an idea. We're going to play the fundamental C, an octave, fifth, back to the octave, and back to the fundamental. Let's try it without the metronome first. Get the gist? Then it simply goes up a half step. And that's the basic idea. Let me turn the arrow off so we don't get confused. All right, so we're going to start in this third full measure on C, and we're going to turn on the metronome. And if you've done these in lessons with me before, I want you to work on this time taking a nice relaxed breath through your nose after each of these fermatas. So a nose breath, which is a very warming, calming breath. So ideally, you'll do these harmonics as your warm-up when you start your flute practice. So be thinking about how you can warm up your body and relax as you play. All right, so here's the metronome. This is the quarter note. And we'll start on C. 1, 2, ready? You'll notice every other one, I took a little bit longer breath, almost even a whole note's worth of breath every other one, just to give myself a little more relaxation, a little bit better air. A lot of flutists ask, how do I have better breath support? And well, the answer is you got to take better breaths, and then you'll start learning how to use the air. Most of our breathing problems on flute are that we actually forgot to breathe. A little side note, this last A sharp, which is the same as B flat that we did, there's some funny configurations depending on your flute, whether you have, I have a B foot, so it has an extra key. You might have a C foot. Sometimes you have to use thumb B flat, and sometimes you have to use forked B flat. And you'll need to know both fingerings. They both sound the same, but to produce some of these harmonics, you got to change up the fingering. So I can show you more about that in your flute lesson. All right, let's do one more. Let's do the 2 octaves and hold. And I think after that we'll call it a night. You can utilize this this week in your practice. So I'm going to turn the metronome down to 50 because we're going to be working with quarter notes and then holding at the top. So this takes us to the 3rd harmonic in the series. So octave, 5th, and then another octave. We'll do the same warming nose breath in between. And let's start in the 3rd measure, so on the low C of number 2 in the harmonics volume. So here we go. Ready, go. Hello, Caitlin. And Caitlin, who's just joining us, sorry about the computer problems. We're at measure 61 of harmonics number 2, if you want to at least kind of follow along a little bit. Here we go. Ready, and if you want to turn that page, the last 4 in this exercise, G, G sharp, A, and A sharp, you have to blow a lot. I'll just say, blow harder. That's what I tell everyone when we're doing these. The harmonics are a really good training in breath capacity. So you have to really blow through the flute, because remember, we're basically dampening the fundamentals. So you have to blow the air through to get that harmonic to come out. So that's my advice. Imagine that you're just, third grade recorder class. Remember when you wanted to annoy all your friends and just blow into that thing as hard as you could? It's a little bit like that with the flute. So if you don't get these today, keep practicing. You can try them out in your lessons and I'll help you. These take a little bit to sort of control. You'll notice when we get to the A sharp, use the forked B flat. So forked means to use this B flat to get the high B flat to come out. So here we go. Let's try it out, the last 4 high ones. Ready, breathe. Very good. So that's our introduction to harmonics. And does anybody want to chime in with any questions? I'll wait a couple seconds. Check over here in the chat. This chat is a little bit... Caitlin is asking, what does forked B flat? So it's this B flat where you're basically adding an extra finger, splitting the tube of the flute. This is what we call forked. Some people call this finger B flat as well. Versus if you hold down this key when you're fingering over here, this is thumb B flat. Thumb B flat. Versus the bar is B natural. So the little button is B flat, B natural. And you'll see my thumb pushes down this key right here, this second key, right? A key I don't actually touch. And that's also what this key does. It pushes this second key down. It adds an extra key when I do the forked B flat too. So the forked B flat actually has a lot more key action going on. The thumb B flat only has one extra key over here. And you need both for flute playing. I actively use both depending on the configuration I'm playing. For example, if you do the chromatic scale, you want to use the forked B flat. Versus if I'm playing something like the F scale, I'm going to use thumb B flat because it's so much more fluid. I'll be bugging all of you about your forked versus thumb B5. You're welcome. All right, any other questions for this evening? All right, well, that's it for tonight. Go practice your harmonics. I'll see you all on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. So we're signing off. Thank you.